The night the moon rose blood, red over Ironclaw Palace, Alara knew her life had been stolen. She wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to wear the silver, veiled gown that weighed her down like a coffin. Her stepsister, beautiful, cunning Seraphina, had vanished, leaving a void filled by rumors, whispers, and the cruelest fate a girl could endure. Marrying Cale Draven, the Alpha King feared across all northern territories, the moment she stepped into the grand hall, every gaze pierced her like arrows. Courtiers muttered behind jeweled fans. Servants stared in awe and terror. And there he was, Cale. Tall, impossibly powerful, silver eyes like frozen moons. Aura of danger so thick it pressed against her chest. This was the man who had once been promised to another, yet now, by twisted fate, he would claim her. Her heart raced as the high priest began the ceremony, chanting words older than the forests outside. And then Cale looked at her, not the empty, obedient gaze she had expected, but something more, something dangerous. Recognition, shock, desire. In that single glance, Alara felt a pull that defied reason. She was supposed to be a replacement. Yet in his eyes, she glimpsed a secret she could never have imagined. A love that had waited years, hidden beneath cruelty and steel. Her fate was sealed, but the story had only just begun. The night the wolves howled louder than the storm, Alara knew her fate had already been sealed. The Ironclaw Palace stood like a black crown against the moon, its spires cutting through clouds heavy with rain. Torches burned along the stone path, their flames trembling in the wind, as if even fire feared what was about to happen. Alara's bare feet touched the cold marble floor of the great hall, each step echoing like a drumbeat announcing her doom. She was dressed as a bride, not because she was loved, not because she was chosen, but because she was replaceable. Walk straight. Lower your eyes. Do not speak unless spoken to. Lady Myrla's voice was sharp, cold, practiced. Alara's stepmother adjusted the silver veil over Alara's hair, hiding the faint scars along her temple, marks from years of silence and obedience. Myrla's grip tightened painfully. Remember, she whispered, you are doing this for your family. Alara almost laughed. Asterisk family asterisk. That word had lost its meaning the day her father died. At the far end of the hall stood the Alpha King of the Nightfang Pack. Cale Draven, the cruelest ruler in the northern territories. A king whose name mothers used to scare misbehaving pups into obedience. His presence alone bent the air, tall, broad, shouldered, dressed in black ceremonial armor etched with ancient runes. His eyes were a piercing silver, cold and unreadable, like winter moons. This was the man her stepsister was supposed to marry. Seraphina, beautiful, powerful, desired, and very suddenly gone she ran. Myrla had hissed hours earlier, fury shaking her carefully composed face. The alliance cannot be broken. The packs would go to war. So they had looked at Alara, the unwanted daughter. The girl without a wolf, the invisible one. You will take her place, Myrla said, veil on, name unchanged. The Alpha does not need to know. Alara's heart pounded as she stopped before Cale. She could feel his gaze through the veil, sharp, assessing, dangerous. The high priest raised his staff. By moon and blood we bind. Cale lifted a hand. Silence fell instantly. Alara's breath caught when he stepped closer. He smelled of pine smoke and something darker. Power, dominance, danger. His gloved fingers lifted her chin with unexpected gentleness. Look at me, he commanded. Her hands trembled as she raised her eyes. The moment their gazes locked, something shifted not in the room. Inside him, Cale's pupils dilated slightly, his jaw tightened. For the briefest second, shock flickered across his face, quickly masked, but not fast enough. He knows, Alara thought in panic. He knows I'm not her, but instead of fury, something else burned in his eyes. Recognition, longing, pain continue, Cale said coldly, stepping back. The ceremony resumed, but Alara's world spun. When the binding cut was made, Cale took her hand. His claw nicked her palm, and their blood mixed. The instant it happened, Alara gasped. A surge of heat rushed through her veins. Images flashed, silver eyes watching her from shadows. A voice whispering her name. A hand reaching for hers in a dream. she never remembered having. Cale stiffened, his grip tightened, the priest smiled. The bond is accepted. The hall erupted in cheers. The alliance was saved, but Cale stared only at Alara, his voice barely a whisper meant for her alone. So, he murmured, eyes dark with secrets, the moon finally gives you back to me. Alara's heart nearly stopped. What did you say, my king? She whispered. Cale leaned closer, his lips brushing her ear. You have no idea who you are, he said quietly, dangerously, or why I have waited years to claim you. The cruel Alpha King straightened, his expression once again ice to everyone here. He announced, "This is my queen." Then, in a voice only she could hear, "And to me, you are the woman I was never allowed to love." Secrets beneath the moonlight the night after the ceremony. The palace was silent except for the distant howls of the Night Fang pack. Torches flickered along the corridors, casting shadows that danced like specters against the stone walls. Alara couldn't sleep. Her mind raced with questions she dared not voice. Why had Cale looked at her like that? Why had his voice softened just for her? And most importantly, why did it feel like he had always been waiting for her? She wandered the halls, her silk gown rustling softly. Every step echoed in the vast emptiness, until she reached the balcony overlooking the moonlit forest. The scent of pine and earth filled her senses. It was then that she felt it. A presence behind her, Cale. He stepped out from the shadows, his armor exchanged for a dark cloak, his silver eyes piercing through the night. Unlike the king who had controlled the ceremony with iron authority, this Cale was quieter, more vulnerable. You shouldn't be wandering alone, he said, his voice low, almost gentle. I can't sleep, Alara admitted, her veil slipping from her hair. I keep thinking about what just happened. Cale's gaze softened. He stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from him. You should know. He began hesitating for the first time. I never wanted Serafina or anyone else, but I had no choice. The Pax demanded an alliance, my father demanded an heir, and I never thought I'd see you again. Alara froze. See me again? Yes, Cale said, his eyes shadowed with memory. When you were a child, I saw you at the festival in the northern woods. You were running through the trees, laughing with your brother. I didn't know who you were, but something about you I never forgot. Her chest tightened. That was years ago. And I waited. He whispered, voice thick with emotion. I tried to be cruel when duty demanded it, but every time I thought of you, it hurt. You were never meant to marry him. You were never meant to be anyone else's, and now. His silver eyes glimmered in the moonlight. Now you're mine. Truly mine, if you'll let me show you. Alara's heart raced. The man who had terrified her in the hall just hours ago was revealing a hidden side. A part that no one else had seen. A part that was tender, aching, and frighteningly powerful. Cale extended his hand. Come with me. There's something I need to show you. Something only my queen can see. Hesitant but driven by curiosity and an inexplicable pull toward him, Alara took his hand. The moment their fingers touched, warmth surged through her, and the world seemed to shift. The moonlight grew brighter, the forest below whispering in a language only their hearts could understand. He led her to a secret courtyard hidden behind ivy-covered walls. A small fountain glimmered with water that reflected the moon, and the scent of night, looming roses filled the air. I brought you here because this is where I remember her, Cale said quietly, gesturing to the moonlit courtyard. Not your stepsister, not duty, but you, the real you. You're the only one I've ever loved, even when I couldn't claim it. Alara's breath caught. The cruelty she had feared in him melted, replaced with a raw vulnerability that left her trembling. For the first time, she saw the man behind the crown, the wolf behind the alpha mask. Before she could speak, Cale closed the distance between them. His hands cupped her face gently, his silver eyes searching hers, as if reading every secret she had hidden even from herself. Tonight, he whispered, you'll understand what it means to be mine, not by duty, not by marriage, but by heart, and once you see, there will be no turning back. Alara's pulse raced, but a thrill ran through her too, a mixture of fear, excitement, and undeniable longing. She realized that the cruel Alpha King she had dreaded might also be the only man who could ever see her, truly see her, and protect her from the world that had always used her as a pawn. The wind stirred the roses around them, carrying with it a whisper of destiny, and beneath the silver moonlight, the bond of blood, heart, and fate began to awaken. Allura felt it deep inside something powerful, something eternal, a force that was far beyond the mortal world. And as Cale leaned closer, the first sparks of a dangerous, consuming love ignited between them. **** Part 3. Shadows of the Pack **** the morning after. The Ironclaw Palace was alive with whispers. Courtiers and servants alike had seen Allura standing beside Cale at the balcony, their hands brushing as if they belonged to each other. Rumors spread like wildfire. The new bride was bold, insolent, dangerous even. Allura felt the weight of every eye upon her, yet none of it compared to the pressure building in Cale's private chambers. The Alpha King had summoned her, not as a bride, but as someone he needed to prepare. "You need to understand," Cale began, pacing as he circled her. "Being an Alpha's mate is more than appearances. The pack, the rituals, the politics. They'll test you, and I must protect you while you endure it." Allura frowned. "Protect me? You barely know me. You barely spoke to me before the wedding." Cale stopped, his silver eyes darkening. "I know enough. I've watched you from afar. I've seen your courage, your stubbornness, your heart. That is what matters. The rest," he said, gesturing to the palace walls, "is only noise." Her heart skipped. Noise, yet he sounded almost reverent, almost gentle. Before she could respond, a sharp growl echoed through the chamber. Allura's eyes widened as Cale's body tensed, the predatory aura radiating from him. From the shadows, two wolves emerged, massive midnight, black eyes glowing like embers. "These are my guards," Cale explained, kneeling slightly to meet her gaze. "But more than that, they are my family, and if anyone dares harm you, they will answer to me." Allura's pulse raced. She had grown up fearing wolves, yet these creatures radiated loyalty and purpose. And Cale's bond with them, it was unlike anything she had imagined. Days passed. The palace became a battlefield of glances, whispered warnings, and political maneuvers. Allura endured tests. She never thought she could survive rituals that demanded endurance, patience, and cunning. And through every challenge, Cale was there, not as a cruel king, but as her shadow, watching her, protecting her, testing her, and at night, whispering secrets of his past, memories of a love he had been forced to deny, a bond he had kept hidden from the world. One night, beneath the blood moon, Cale finally revealed the truth that shocked her to her core. "I didn't marry you out of duty," he confessed, his voice low, intimate. "I married you because you are the only woman I have ever loved. Even when Serafina was supposed to be mine, my heart belonged to you." Allura's knees weakened. "But why? Why wait so long? Why not claim me before?" Cale's gaze softened, pain and longing intertwined. "Because I was bound by the laws of the pack, by duty, by a crown I never wanted. But when the moon gave you to me, I knew fate had delivered you, and I would never let another take you." Her breath caught. The cruel Alpha King, the man who had terrified her in the Great Hall, was the same man whose heart had been secretly hers all along. Before she could respond, the doors burst open. A messenger, breathless, delivered a scroll sealed in black wax. Cale's eyes narrowed as he broke the seal. "Trouble from the northern clans," he said, reading quickly. "They challenge my rule. They claim you are not a true mate, and they threaten to take what is mine by right." Allura's heart pounded. The world she had stepped into was far more dangerous than she had imagined. But for the first time, she didn't feel fear. She felt determination, and something more, something fiery, raw, and unyielding. Cale stepped closer, his hand resting lightly on her waist. "Whatever happens, Allura, you are mine. My blood, my heart, my queen, and I will fight to the last breath to prove it." Under the blood, red moon, the two of them stood together, bonded not only by the ceremony, but by secrets, love, and a dangerous future neither could ignore. The shadows of the pack loomed closer, but together they would face whatever came. Fire and blood, the northern winds howled like banshees as the Night Fang pack prepared for battle. The northern clans had arrived without warning, hundreds of warriors clad in iron and leather, eyes blazing with hatred. Their leader, a massive alpha named Darius, rode at the front, his crimson eyes fixed on Kale. Allura stood beside Kale on the balcony of Ironclaw Palace, her heart pounding. The gown she had worn for ceremony had been replaced with sleek, black leather suited for movement, and a silver dagger gleamed at her side. She felt fear, but also a surge of something stronger, courage, fire, the pull of destiny. Kale's hand brushed hers, and the electricity between them was undeniable. "Tonight," he whispered, voice low and commanding, "you will see why I am feared, but also why I am yours." The gates of the palace shuddered as the first wave of northern warriors slammed against them. Wolves leapt from the shadows, teeth and claws flashing in the moonlight. The pack roared in unison, a terrifying symphony of power and fury. Kale moved like a shadow among his enemies, each strike calculated, devastating. His silver eyes glowed with primal power, his claws slicing through steel and bone. Allura followed, her own dagger finding its mark again and again, surprising even herself. And then it happened. Darius broke through the line, charging straight for them. "You think your pack can stand against me, Alpha?" he roared. Kale's expression darkened, the cruel mask of the Alpha returning, but now it was tempered by something else. A feral intensity reserved only for her. "You will not touch her," Kale growled, stepping forward, his voice a low thunder. "She is mine, only mine." Allura's breath caught as Kale's power erupted. Silver energy crackled around him, his wolf form surging, growing taller, more monstrous. The ground shook with each step. The air was thick with magic, blood, and fury. Darius faltered, his eyes wide with shock. "Impossible, no human. She is not just human." Kale snapped, his gaze piercing through the northern Alpha. "She is my queen, my mate, and you." Before he could finish, Allura stepped forward. Her dagger glinted under the moonlight. "She is yours," Darius hissed, but Kale's hand lifted hers in a protective gesture. Allura's heart raced as she realized something incredible. When she and Kale were together, their bond was more than emotional. It was power. Every touch, every heartbeat, every shared breath made them stronger. Together, they were unstoppable. Kale lunged, and with Allura by his side, they defeated Darius's warriors, one by one. The battlefield became a blur of claws, steel, and blood, the screams of enemies mingling with the roars of their own pack. When the dust settled, the northern clans lay scattered. Kale's chest heaved, his silver eyes softening as they found Allura's. She was unharmed, her eyes wide with awe and fear, her hair sticking to her sweat. Damp face. Kale closed the distance between them. "You see now," he murmured, brushing her cheek, "why I could never let anyone else claim you. You are mine in every way." Allura's breath caught. Her fear melted into something else, desire, relief, and an undeniable connection that made her knees weak. Kale's lips descended on hers, claiming her with a kiss that was fierce, tender, and impossibly intimate all at once. The power between them surged, a bond no one could break. The northern clans had been defeated, but the true battle, the one of hearts, secrets, and love, had only just begun. Beneath the blood, red moon with the wind whipping around them and the scent of pine and blood in the air, Allura realized something undeniable. She was no longer a pawn. She was a queen, and Kale's secret love was hers alone. Secrets of the heart. The palace was quiet the next morning, but the air was thick with tension. The northern clans had been defeated, yet whispers of dissent still lingered. The Night Fang pack eyed Kale with renewed respect, but also suspicion. His affection for Allura, a human, turned. Queen Overnight was bold, unprecedented, and dangerous in their eyes. Allura walked beside him through the corridors, her hand brushing his. The warmth of his skin seared through her, reminding her that Kale's love was real, yet forbidden in the rigid traditions of wolf packs. "Why me?" she asked softly as they entered his private chambers, away from prying eyes. "Why risk everything for me?" Kale's eyes softened. He moved to the balcony, overlooking the courtyard where the pack trained. The rising sun painted his silver hair with streaks of gold. "Because I saw you before I ever became Alpha," he said quietly. "Even then, I knew you were the one my heart would always claim. No duty, no crown, no pack could change that." Illyra's chest tightened. "Even if the pack doesn't accept us," Kale smiled, a rare, almost vulnerable expression. "Then we make them accept it, or we leave together." Before she could respond, a shadow crossed the doorway. It was Seraphina, her stepsister, who had disappeared the night of the wedding. Her beauty was untouched, but her eyes burned with fury. "You think you can take what's mine?" Seraphina hissed, her gaze snapping to Illyra. "Kale was supposed to be mine. You have no idea who you're dealing with." Illyra's hand instinctively went to Kale's. He stepped forward, placing himself between them. "No," he said coldly. "He belongs to no one but me, and she," his gaze softened, flicking to Illyra, "is mine in every way." Seraphina's laugh was sharp, dangerous. "You'll see, Kale, you can't defy the traditions forever. The pack will turn against you, and she smirked at Illyra, venom in her eyes. "She doesn't belong here, not truly." Kale's silver eyes flared. "Try me," he warned, his claws extending slightly, glinting in the sun. "And you will regret it. I protect what is mine." Illyra felt her heart hammer in her chest. Fear, yes, but also a thrilling surge of courage. She stepped closer to Kale, leaning into him as if their bond alone could shield them. Later that night, in the privacy of Kale's chambers, the weight of the day's confrontation pressed down on them. Kale drew her close, his forehead resting against hers. "They will test us," he murmured, "every day. They'll question your place, your worth, even mine. I don't care." Illyra whispered, her hands threading through his silver hair. "I only care about you." Kale's lips brushed hers, tentative at first, then with growing intensity. Every kiss, every touch, every heartbeat became a declaration, a promise, a warning. "You are mine," he said between kisses, his voice low and throaty. "And I will prove it to the pack, to the world, and to you." Illyra shivered, the fire of their passion intertwining with the danger of their position. The palace, the pack, the legacy of tradition, they were all obstacles, but together they were unstoppable. Outside, the moon rose, bathing the palace in silver light, and in that glow, Illyra realized the truth. She didn't just love Kale. She needed him, and no one, not even fate, could ever separate them.